hope you enjoyed the previous video, but plasticine printing doesn't have longevity, so I'm now going to show you how to create blocks that can be reused. I have a couple of blocks of wood, some string and some elastic bands. So I've already got one in place, so now I'm just going to simply stretch the band around. It's quite tight. Okay, and then what you need to do is make sure that these front bands are flat to the surface, because this is the printing surface and it needs to be flat. So that's the front. The back, it doesn't matter about so much, but this is the one that we're going to be using. Okay, so that's one made. So I'll get 2 drawing pins. I have some string. So on the reverse side, I'm just going to wrap the string around it, press it down firmly, so that's going to be nice and tight, and then I will start to wrap around the front. Here again, you must make sure they're flat. You don't want them overlapping, it has to be flat each time. Think about putting things close together. I'm going to go for a diagonal this time and see if I can squeeze. Yeah, that'll be good. I'll get one more complete. And I'll press this down, wrap it around a couple of times, press it and secure it. So here I think I'll just cut that little end off. Okay, so that's out of the way. Now I'm going to be using acrylic paints, but you can also use water-based paints as well. They'll be fine. And I will have 2 pieces of paper. One is going to be for scrap and one is for the actual printing. So I will start with the orange. I'll load it up, just check I've got enough on there, and then I'll start printing onto the surface. Okay, now I'm going to rotate that round and not put any more ink onto it, and to kind of get slightly different effects. You can also work with this on its side, like so you can create some rows, or it can be used in a much more random way, like so. Now I'm just going to clean this up on here. Okay, and then I'm going to reload with the blue. You will get a bit of colour transfer, but nothing significant. So here I might also then start to layer and see what sort of effects I can get. And here I might pop it in the centre. Get those sort of different qualities and different effects. Okay, so I'm going to put that to one side and get a second piece of paper. Now, because I'm working with string, because this is it just seems to work better when it's printed onto a piece of paper. So again, I will load up. Might put a little bit more paint onto here. Burn that down. Okay, put those the same way. This time I'm going to put them on their sides. Load up again. And then I will try it the opposite way as well and see what sort of effect I get. Like so. Okay. Not using as much pressure, but I'm building it up in a slightly different way, and I'll just clean the block off. Try and get rid of some of the orange. Now you might find that you actually like some of the work that you've actually created on here, so don't think that this is just going to be thrown away. This could be something that is interesting later on. So that looks reasonably clean. So I'll now stamp this into the blue. And then see where are we going with this one. I think we'll take that in the same place. Okay, yeah, so I'm continuing. I'll load up again with my blue paint. I think I might put the central as well. Okay, blur these a little bit. And try these in different ways. So, you may find that students prefer the string, or you might find that students really like the elastic band pieces, but with a little bit of time, and don't forget your scrap piece, you create a number of images which they can then develop in different ways. The outcomes from your block printing experiments could be mounted into your little sketch pads and with annotations, and then it shows a nice contrast with the similarities with the previous printing. An alternative is as follows. Okay, so we're going to explore some collage. So choose a print and then turn it over, and then I want you to draw a circular type of shape. Then we'll go for something that's square. I'm doing this freehand, and then also something up here that's longer. Okay, now what I also want you to think about doing is then just to round off the corners of the rectangle and the square. So I'm going to cut through, and I will then carefully cut around the circle. Okay, then I'm going to cut through, and if you can do this freehand, but if you prefer to, you could draw a circle and then stop here. So we now have a circle and the edge piece. I think it would be actually helpful if I drew these on, so I'll do that now. And carefully cutting through from the back again, cutting my little curves, and again. Cut straight through. Doesn't matter if you wobble off the line slightly, that's okay. And I'll finish again. So now I also have two further shapes, and I just have one more to go. So I'll cut through. Now the idea is that the actual back piece that you create is also a piece that's also going to be useful with the project as well. On to my final bit, like so. So now I have a number of pieces. Okay. Right, I have a piece of plain paper, and I can start to arrange these in different ways. Okay, I can use a paper portrait, I can also use it landscape. I can arrange even numbers on here, so I just have the pair. Okay, does that work or not? Does it work better if they are taller and they're different sort of shapes? I might want to introduce a second shape as well and think about the spacing between them. Does that look any better if I do it portrait? That's quite squashed now, but that piece might look more interesting. Could I add some other pieces into the composition? And at this point you can also take some photographs, and then you can just keep putting them together. Now you also, because you have these little slots, you could link those through and see what they look like when they're linked. Are they interesting? So we're looking at lots of different ways of composing a printed or a collaged composition. Is that too much with 3? Perhaps. I kind of quite like the linked. And then what does it look like with 1 extra? Do 2 work? Is 3 too much? I'm going to take one of those pieces away. I'm just working out how different arrangements work. Now, another way of using this is also thinking about using some of the smaller elements that you cut out. Could they be added in? Can they be put off centre? You also might want to look at other artists' work here. Artist who springs to mind straight away is Barbara Hepworth with her prints. Now when you finish exploring, students could then choose which they think is their best composition, and then they could then stick these down and then they will have a number of pieces of work completed along with the photographs that they've taken earlier.